fantastic. This is GT racing right now.
He's got traction, he's going around the outside of both of them! Maloney!
Oh, he's taken Anderson! Anderson's up to
Oh my god!
Oh.
Big crash! Oh my goodness, half the field's gonna get involved!
Second very close. These guys are want to make their way through the field very quickly.
Oh, there we go!
Oh no! That's massive! This is it! This is over! I can't believe this! Oh my god!
God, what?
Welcome to Phillip Island, welcome to SimSpeed TV for round 2 of Club Day Masters. We're just ticking over from practice into qualifying, so let's take a look at this track, at the event, and at the racing that is going to be before us this evening. Round 2, of course, we were at Bathurst last round, we stay in Australia, and we move a little bit further south to beautiful Phillip Island. A little bit of a drive out of Melbourne, very, very day trippable. Here is where we are. Winton not far away either, and some other great Australian circuits on the map here. Bathurst, Tailem Bend, of course, here, south of Melbourne on Phillip Island, known as a great holiday destination, known for the penguins, but also known around the world for hosting fantastic racing action on 2 wheels and on 4 wheels. Of course, here on iRacing, we're on 4 wheels. It's international knowledge, very much helped by the 2-wheel variety of racing as well. Very, very fast, very flowing. A couple hard stops around the lap as well. A real challenge for our drivers. Speaking about the challenge ahead for our drivers, let's take a look at the standings. After round 1 was quite chaotic, but we saw some great moves through the reverse grid races, through the traffic. Your championship leader here, Liam Kaplis, great results, great points. Now the man to be caught, the man to beat at Phillip Island. David Haynes, I'm joined by Cam Dance, Jake Kennedy producing as well. Cam, you were here last week. We saw all that went on with a huge grid of TCR cars at Bathurst, and it's left us with a very interesting championship standings as well.
Yeah, it certainly has. It was a very, very mixed bag of results for a lot of people at Bathurst, especially some of those that ended up getting caught up in the carnage that ensued in all 3 of the races, really. So, yeah, it's going to be quite fascinating to see what happens at Phillip Island here. Hopefully we get a little bit more cleaner racing, but there are your championship standings, and it's albeit very, very close, but certainly it could be turned on its head very quickly.
Kaplis just 6 points ahead of Matthew Cartolone, again just 2 points ahead of Adam Fonslow, and then tied for 4th there with Jack Boyd in 5th as well. Very, very close. It's qualifying right now at Phillip Island, and like last week, short, sharp 10-minute session. Everyone out on track together. If it was tough to find some space and some real estate at Bathurst, with 40 cars around Phillip Island, I don't imagine it is much easier.
Certainly wouldn't be, and it's a lot shorter of a lap as well, only 4.4 kilometers. Plus the pit exits are a little bit more open to causing some possible incidents and balking some people on laps, but nevertheless, so far everybody's managed to at least get some form of a lap, and obviously some of them not being representative due to where the start finish line is in relation to the pit exit. So it's going to be interesting to see what happens as they all start to funnel across the line and set some representative laps.
Jack Boyd, wearing his HM Engineering skin there, he's in the top 5 of the points. Aaron Oliver is currently with the best time in qualifying. We saw our points leader, Liam Kaplis, a little bit earlier. He had a little bit of damage on his car, so I don't think the start of qualifying has been particularly clean for him. Of course, you make any car contact on a flying lap, that one's not going to count, so you need to avoid everyone else, but you also don't want them compromising your balls to the wall lap. Aaron Oliver crosses the line. Jack Boyd in front of him is taken pole position away for the moment. I think they're all just warming up their tyres, just getting in the swing of it now, and maybe just settling into the rhythm as well of qualifying.
Yeah, there'll be some nice heat starting to get into those tyres to set some representative lap times, it's looking like it's been pretty close so far. Glenn Boyd's jumping up to third as well by the looks of it. A few others have shaken up the field. Bailey Fred into the top 5 as well. So starting to see some representative pace from a lot of these drivers, and still plenty of time to go though to set an even quicker lap time.
What Matthew Cardellone has just done as he crossed the line there, you can see he had a little bit of a slipstream from the car in front. I'm sure that helped him at the end of the lap. You don't want someone right up in front of you at the start of a flying lap. And the track is a little bit blocked at the first hairpin. It would be Honda. So a few drivers have just had their lap ruined.
Like Ben Edwards has had an incident with a few drivers on the way down into the hairpin. It was actually Liam Caplice who got involved in it and was entirely, and then you had a few others, Simon Hederscheid and a few others as well getting involved, unfortunately. So it's not been a good qualifying for a few drivers so far.
Always a bit of a mixed bag then for the start of race 1, and then when we head to race 2, the invert of the top 15 of the grid, and that's going to make that second race also incredibly hectic. So to be able to move forward from a mixed bag qualifying and then move forward from an inverted grid race 2 is going to be a real challenge. It's something it seemed like Liam Caplice excelled at Bathurst. Can do it again. Now we've got slightly longer races from 3 20-minute races to 2 30-minute races. Same amount of on-track action. Hopefully it'll settle everything down just a little bit, give our drivers a teeny bit more time to work their pit stop strategy and move their way forward without having to resort to nefarious tactics.
Yes, certainly. It's going to really mix up the field, those pit stops, especially if we get a possible safety car as well, like we saw at Bathurst. So will be quite fascinating to see who takes advantage of what strategies. These TCR cars do take a few laps to get their tyres up to temp, and with it being front wheel drive, it's even more critical to get temp into them as quickly as you possibly can as well. So kind of do have to be a little bit careful in that respect, and you don't end up putting yourself at a disadvantage on your out lap in your first few laps while everybody else has hot tyres. But at the same time, you want to make sure that you're not stuck in traffic the entire time.
Talking about temperature, a bit muggy at Phillip Island, I think. Mostly cloudy with a 21-degree air temperature, but a 35-degree track temp. A lot of cloud cover, hot surface. Interesting to see how that goes. Here's Lee Harrison, and that's coming through the final corner, trying to carry as much speed as possible for the long pit straight here. Absolutely, you can sometimes get almost towards hitting the rev limiter in these TCR cars if they've got a good slipstream down towards turn 1.
Certainly, it's fixed gearing in these TCR cars, so it's a little bit of a challenge when you've got a nice big draft of a few cars in front of you and you end up bouncing off the limiter a little bit on the way into turn number 1 due to the massive draft effect that you may or may not have. So you kind of have to be a little bit careful in some respects, but at the same time you can kind of just bounce it off the limiter and then more or less try and hold your own, and it should give you a little bit of an advantage over everybody else in some respects on the way into turn number 1 to get past and maneuver done. But obviously everybody hits the limiter at the same sort of time, so you kind of have to be a little bit careful in that you can drop alongside as early as you possibly can.
Quite a few time improvements coming in. Not going to be one for Ben Edwards there, I wouldn't think, but Kobe Williams has just gone to 9th. Matthew Cardellone has gone to 3rd. Forgive me there, but I think the qualifying order there on the timing column is starting to look a lot more representative of who we saw had the pace at Bathurst as well. Still, there's going to be an element of a lucky dip, mixed bag, drivers not quite being able to set fully representative times in a short session with a lot of traffic. The longer it goes on, the more it's starting to look like the form guide we were expecting.
Certainly is, and obviously the more laps that get under the driver's belts, the more the pace sort of starts to, I guess, average itself out in some respects, and that they're not really going to go too much faster with more rubber going down and also their tyres wearing out as well. So it's starting to become a little bit more closer to what we're actually seeing in terms of a lap time representative from majority of the drivers. A few drivers have decided to park it for the time being. Still at least probably one more lap if you can squeeze it in for a few of these drivers who are still out there, but certainly a few of these drivers deciding to call it early.
Remember last week we had a hard cut to the end of qualifying. When the time was done, the time was done. So everyone crossing the line now is very much behaving like they don't think they're going to get another lap in, including our mate Nick Skariev there. So I think there's a few drivers out there on a lap who are going to get to finish them. But most of the field look like they're done with Jack Boyd on pole. Carpenter in second on the grid is still out there. Graham Sharp. Sharp racing. Is his time looking sharp? Didn't really see an improvement there that I noticed. There's only a few drivers left with 20 seconds left. Going to be able to get to the line.
Millen improves to second lap first.
Yeah, just a little bit of extra time there found for McMillan. Philip Paradiso then. Bit off the pace there, 5 seconds off his best on that lap, and that is the end of qualifying. They're now going to line up for race 1, 30 minutes of Phillip Island with a required pit stop. Who's going to take that early? Who's going to take that late? And of course, if you wait too long, you run the risk of being exposed to a potential safety car as well. Let's recap the grid, at least the at the pointy end, the top 20 or so. We'll take a look. Jack Boyd, pole man, just ahead of Dale Carpenter. Adam Funslow and Matthew Cardellone are the next row of the grid for our standing start. Lee Harrison, then Aaron Oliver, Daniel Webster, Aaron Hindle, Glenn Boyd, and Ivan Vantagiato is the top 10.
We have Kobe Williams, Jack Childs on the next row, Adam Sharp, Mario Vartani, and Daniel Hedderscheid rounding out the top 15. Matthew Hensford-Taylor, Liam Caplice, Richard Brookfield, George Gutierrez, and Wade Reynolds rounding out the top 20.
So championship leader starting from 17th on the grid, probably not what he had in mind, but it's Hayden Jackson in 21st, Brady Buchanan in 22nd, Christopher Henn, Bailey Frid, Patrick Panton, Damian Cairns, Nick Skariev, Frank Hodak, Sam Lehman, Hayden Felici in 30th.
Over the page to round out the rest of the field, you can have McMillan, Holmes, Casey, McMillan, Hoare, Sharp, Hedderscheid, Edwards, Paradise, and Pontello to round out the 40-car field.
So they're all starting to form up on the grid. Will be a standing start. Once again, look how far back the drivers at the very rear of the field are away. It's not quite like Bathurst where they're around the corner. They're very, very far back. A lot of work to do if you didn't qualify where you thought you deserved. 10-second horn in the air. Almost all the drivers on the grid ready, waiting to launch their TCR cars into life at Phillip Island. For Jack Boyd, he's on the pole. He's got the inside for turn 1. Pressure is very much on him. See, he starts to load the car up, potentially against the handbrake. Now the green light comes out and he launches away, and we launch into life for round 2 of Club Day Masters.
Yeah, very start from the front row as well by the looks of it.
Jack Boyd's able to take the line he wants all by himself. He swoops through turn 1 as they go side by side, 2 deep behind him. Already a couple panels being traded. Aaron Oliver gets a good tap from behind, but still manages to keep it online in the southern loop. Further back in the field, plenty of 2 wide. Matthew McMillan, one of the few drivers being forced off the circuit. So easy to happen at southern loop. You get a little bit wide, you get on the grass, and you just keep going.
Yeah, he's certainly doing it. Can happen at the hairpin as well on the way in. Looks like everybody's managed to keep it on the black stuff for the time being. It doesn't look like anybody's run into any possible trouble. So it's been a pretty clean start so far, and everybody's managed to survive.
For the most part, smooth so far. And of course, the longer we get into this race, the more they'll spread out.
Oh,
but there is a little bit of contact. Cardellone there, is it? Adam Funslow gets lifted up on top of the berm. Lee Harrison involved there as well. Both those guys qualified pretty well. This is dropping them massively in race 1. And I think Funslow even had to tow because he got his car beached.
Looks like he did actually end up getting beached on that banking or trying to recover back onto the circuit. But yeah, it's a little bit awkward that I've managed to commentators curse that one, but it just looks like Funzo's more or less come out of the corner and then just didn't quite expect Harrison to have the run that he did, and unfortunately contact ensued, and they ended up in a difficult spot.
weak effort from Fonslow as well. He needed to pick up more speed before he took the jump, and instead he got beached. Or there was a way around. But as often happens, some of these drivers worried about damage, worried about being exposed to a potential safety car, deciding to pit at the end of lap 1. And if there was a bit of damage, maybe some power loss, maybe some damaged steering for Lee Harrison there, a good move. Up front, Jack Boyd continues. Slipstream is powerful in these cars, and Slipstream is powerful around this track. You add that together, Jack Boyd's going to have a very, very difficult time dropping Dale Carpenter. And then in third place, Kobe Williams is trying to cover off Daniel Webster and Glenn Boyd.
He's going to have the inside at the moment. He's going to be stuck on the outside when they get to Honda Hairpin. Williams going to try and break as late as he can. Manages to hold it on the inside, but he's going to be on the outside for Siberia's. He's going to have enough of a run. It looks like he is, and he's going to get that position as they head into Siberia. So up one position, and Glenn Boyd is lurking in the background of these two. And then you've got that massive pack of cars behind who have all managed to pretty much catch up because of the two fighting ahead.
Yeah, indeed. Bit of a GRM tribute livery there for Adam Sharp, I think it was. Meanwhile, Liam Caplice started 17th. Remember, we made note of that. He's running up into 10th now. And that's pretty important, I think, to get yourself into that top 15, knowing that we've got a top 15 invert for race 2. You wouldn't want to finish in 16th place, that's for sure.
Yeah, you certainly wouldn't want to be the guy that's finishing down in 16th and just missing out by one place. But that said, it might not be a bad thing with being able to follow some of the leaders through on their charge through the field. But another few drivers deciding to come down to the lanes. Kobe Williams is one of them, followed by Glenn Boyd and Adam Sharp as well. So a few more taking to the lane to get their pit stop out of the way, and not a bad ploy being done early on.
Yeah, exactly. Pretty quick stops here, just a bit of fuel. Often looks like what goes on as well. Jack Boyd, Dale Carpenter, of course, glued together, stay out. And I think looking for Daniel Webster or so in third, but it's good for Dale Carpenter if he can just stick with Jack Boyd, because Jack Boyd is looking very quick indeed at the moment. He's got the fastest lap of the race. He, of course, qualified on pole in the difficult session. Here is Catalone, Aaron Oliver, Adam Sharp, all rejoining the race.
Yeah, have come out just inside the top 30 and 24th and 25th respectively, and Kobe Williams coming out in 28th. So he's actually lost a little bit there, having started and come out into the pit lane in front of those two. So I'm not quite sure what's gone in there. Possibly decided to take a little bit more fuel, not entirely sure.
Doubt the accuracy of these numbers potentially. I see about 15-second stop for Williams and about 11-second stop for Adam Sharp. So when they were that close, that'd definitely do it. You know, just how you approach the pit box, how you get out of it, all that, quite important. Jack Boyd from the lead is going to take to the pit lane. Dale Carpenter, I think, very sensibly follows him in as well, and there's a few others now going to jump into pit lane. Mario Vartanian going to be the first to stay out. He'll inherit the lead for the minute. Liam Caplice from deeper in the field decided that's going to be his strategy for race 1 as well, going just a little bit longer.
Yeah, it certainly looks like it's going to be his sort of strategy at the moment, to try and go a little bit longer and follow these three on, well, these two ahead of him on through. It looks to be working not too badly. They're running about mid to high 39s at the moment, and Caplice runs very wide on the way through the southern loop. And just as a comparison for pace, it looks like the drivers who have pitted already running about the same sort of pace, so it's going to be reasonably close actually in where they come out in relation to the rest.
Around pit exit, Jack Boyd blows by a bunch of other cars leaving the pit lane. He's got himself back up to 11th now, and he did have Dale Carpenter right behind him, but it looks like Matthew Cartalone's managed to jump a few. So Dale Carpenter also a little bit of a victim of the pit stops. Shuffled back deeper into the field. Not quite the great position he was in when it was him and Jack Boyd as a 2-car breakaway.
Yeah, certainly not how he will have hoped, but it's not doing too bad for himself at the moment. Just needs to bide his time and make his way on through the field. He shouldn't have too many issues as more drivers start to pit and start to sort themselves out, but certainly they're going to need to get a little bit of a move on with the fact that they've got to start getting some sort of positions as Caplices decide to come down onto the lane as well as Hodak.
Interesting. Vartanian and Hedderscheid, Daniel Hedderscheid, stay out. And they are in elite company now because almost everyone behind them is pitting. It's just Wade Reynolds still out. Mike Casey, Matthew McMillan, Philip Paradiso. Was everyone else has made their pit stop at this point.
Yes, it's going to be interesting to see where they come out. Caplice is just leaving the lane now, and he's going to drop in just behind this little pack that had the likes of Glenn Boyd and co. So he's dropped a little bit of time here, and he actually might lose another 2 to Field and, well, Felici and Brookfield. He's going to try hold it around the outside of Brookfield and just going to have to slot them behind.
Saw a great demonstration of, you leave pit lane, you get on the circuit, and you're still nowhere near at the speed everyone else is at. Bit of hip and shoulder between the teammates there, and Aaron Oliver's also been a victim of Southern Loop. Sometimes the space just runs out on the outside and you end up in all sorts of trouble. So let's grab the replay, find out what happened to Aaron Oliver at Southern Loop, because I only caught the end of it. He goes on the way into Southern Loop. I think he just attacks it too aggressively himself, gets it out sideways, rear tires on the grass, rotates, and he's in all sorts of trouble. But at the same time, further up the road, Kobe Williams might have been getting himself into a bit of a spot of bother here. Looking towards the hairpin, looking for a move. It's well and truly covered off. And was there a bit of help there? Both of them go deep off the corner at Honda hairpin, and well, that was a bit cheeky. Jack Childs, did he get a bit of help, or did he get in too deep, hot and bothered by himself?
It's a little bit difficult to tell from that camera angle, but it did look like there was contact from Childs and, well, from Williams from behind on Childs. So unfortunately, those two are running a little bit deep in the end. Top 3 have also entered the lane by the looks of it, and they're gonna all start dropping down the order. Hedderscheid has left the lane, and they're just gonna slot in behind Glenn Boyd, and that's so it's not come out not too bad, and that was very close between Childs and Oliver on the way into turn number 1.
Now Oliver looks around the outside, runs out of room there, but some late defensive moves. You can maybe get away with that on the straight, but in towards the braking zone, that is what causes trouble. Race control very much watching over everyone quite closely tonight. And Oliver's trying to recover from his little mistake.
They're all scrapping for position at the Honda hairpin. They're going to be too wide. Williams is going to shove Hedderscheid out onto the grass, and he's going to slot in behind Felici in the end. Caplice is looking there with nowhere to go, and you can just see the pack behind is rapidly closing in on this little pack ahead of them, who are just constantly scrapping for position with nothing on, with everything on the line.
Yeah, still a huge pack from third on back, but at the hairpin, more problems for Ben Edwards. George Gutierrez, has he also been involved with that one? He's coming through Siberia now. He might have been, but the pack further up the road, everyone trying to make moves. Aaron Oliver with a huge dive there. I think that one just managed to stick. He's finally got himself in front of Jack Childs right before one of the biggest drafting opportunities of the lap as well. Holefields is now pitted as Matthew McMillan was the last to make his pit stop. He's in now. Jack Boyd, Matthew Cardellone resume the race lead up front. But Oliver, under all sorts of pressure, he's covering the inside, which means he's not picking up the slipstream off the cars in front of him. And that's going to leave him all sorts of exposed. Childs around the outside. No grip, no speed there.
He's not quite going to be able to get it around the outside, but just ahead, Caplice has gone off the road, running a little bit too deep on the way into Southern Loop and running wide as a result, and he's going to slot right in behind that entire battle pack. He's actually going to end up slotting in behind Skariev, so he's lost a lot of positions out of that, going to end up all the way down in 16th from P10.
And he's out of the top 15 critically, like we mentioned. 15th place in this race is going to be reverse grid pole for race 2. You desperately want to be in that top 15. If you can't be the winner, you just want to be in that top 15.
Certainly, we're going to want to at least try get somewhere near the front of the field and be at least 15th, like you said, to try and get poles. So it's going to be very, very close to see what happens here. Caplice is going to have some very good pace to possibly get that reverse grid pole back, but we'll have to wait and see. But Glenn Boyd is still continuing to pressure the back of Dale Carpenter, who just can't quite seem to do enough to get away from him or break away. And you can see the difference in the run out of MG that Glenn Boyd has, and getting right up behind Dale Carpenter. He's going to have the draft down the front straight as well. So I'd say the move between these two, and Boyd is going to probably gain a position here.
It's in position. This is what it looks like facing backwards from Dale Carpenter at Glenn Boyd, who I think just let that one go for the minute. He's aware that Carpenter might be able to catch Vartanian and Adam Sharp up front. Meanwhile, at 15th place, I don't think anyone's going to be quite as patient as our top 5. Caplice is looking so aggressive, looking to the inside of the southern loop. Doesn't really find the place there. Just behind them, the move also going on. So southern loop, all action there.
Yes, certainly. And you can see the reverse grid pole scrap is certainly on. Caplice is going to go to the inside of Scariev. A little bit of contact on the way down towards Honda, and they're just going to come out of it in one piece. Scarriev's trying to hold on to pole here, and there's still plenty of racing left as well. So he's kind of got to be a little bit careful here in that he doesn't want to make any mistakes and try and hold this position, but he has to remember that he still has to get to the end of the race.
Yeah, indeed. Recapping. Close between first and second. Battle pack forming for third. And this, the battle for the reverse grid pole, will be contested very, very hotly all through this race. We haven't even reached halfway yet. Whole field have made their required pit stops. It's a sprint from here to the checkered flag of race 1 in Club Day Masters.
Yeah, you can see Caplice is looking everywhere he possibly can. He's trying to set up the run onto the front straight on Scariev to try and get this move done. He's got a very solid exit. Nearly drops a wheel off on the way down, or on the way out of the corner. He's tucked right up behind. He's going to move to the inside of Scariev as he head down towards turn number 1. Isn't it going to be able to try and hold it around the outside? He's going to back out and decide to just let him go.
And your points leader, Caplice, back up into 15th. The lead of the race, Jack Boyd's under a little bit of pressure here from Cardellone. I'm sure they both understand the situation they're in. 5 seconds clear of the battle for 3rd, 4th, 5th, 6th that we see now. They'll be aware that they don't want to battle each other and, lose the great circumstances they find themselves in. But I think when we get deeper in the race here, they'll get a bit more punchy, a bit more elbows out. For the moment, if you're in Cardellone's shoes and Boyd was pulling away, you'd stick with it. But it all changes because the yellow flag is out. We have a safety car at half distance in race 1. Jack Boyd's lead, it's gone.
Yes, certainly. The cushion's going to bunch this pack right back up, and who knows who's going to end up winning this now, although probably in favour of Jack Boyd, but it's certainly going to mix up a lot of battles throughout this field and going to give a lot of people an extra chance as well to try and move their way back up the field, especially someone like Liam Caplice, who's currently a little bit down the order compared to where he should be, and as a result, he's going to be able to move his way up the field quite nicely if he gets a very, very good restart.
These cursed budget cuts. I swear we had a Porsche safety car last week. Now it's a 15-year-old Ford Mustang for a safety car. But I'm not sure Jack Boyd quite minds that. I'm not sure that's what's on his mind, but not quite the luxury our racers were treated to at Bathurst.
Yes, certainly. It's a little bit of a budget cut to go back to the old Mustang at Phillip Island. It's certainly something different to be out there compared to what we're used to seeing, but it's at least out there and giving it a red hot go. Might need the cobwebs blowing off a few of the valves, but at least it's going at this point.
At least it's not sitting in someone's shed covered in dust. It's out here at Phillip Island. But that's not what really matters. What matters is that we're under safety car. It's going to condense the field back up. It's also going to clear away some of the traffic that your leaders were starting to catch when we do get underway again. It's going to be a very, very clear track in front of them. Recapping the top 10, Jack Boyd leads. Matthew Cardellone in second. Adam Sharp, Mario Vartanian, Dale Carpenter, the rest of the top 5. Glenn Boyd, Kobe Williams, Hayden Felici, Aaron Oliver, and Jack Childs. And this is such a great opportunity for the likes of Liam Caplice, for the likes of Aaron Oliver, who we know have been very quick, but have had some little off-track moments that have cost them a handful of time. They get that time back now, and they get an all-you-can-eat buffet in front of them of cars to try and overtake. But critically, do I see Caplice is down into 19th now? Must have had a problem just before the safety car came out.
Yeah, it seems he's dropped a few more positions, so I'm not quite sure what's happened in the lap or so prior to that. He actually did the same thing that he did a few laps prior and actually went off at Southern Loop again, so luckily didn't get hit by Scariev on the way by, who did pretty much nearly the same thing, but he certainly lost a few positions as a result of running wide there.
Let's take a moment to mention some of the partners of this series and of our broadcast. Primary partner, Aussie Karts, and the others in the box up the top of your screen. KP Tech, and then Lee Harrison with the full livery of the Aussie Karts car there as well. So I think at the top of the broadcast, we've got the various UltraTune stores. We've got Tribe Digital Marketing, and with their support, Club Day Masters gets a SimSpeed broadcast this season. And I tell you what, not a waste. Someone's having problems under safety car. A bit of a check-up. Surely Matthew Hansford-Taylor will be able to get his spot back, but this is a bit awkward.
Yeah,
he can't find reverse gear either. He's got to wait before he can face the right way, and then he's going to have to put the power down now, but luckily the field's not too far ahead.
Yeah, certainly shouldn't lose his positions at it, I don't think, but we'll wait and see what happens. But it's certainly not what he will have wanted at all to have a moment like that under safety car with the checkup that was going on. So not quite how he will have planned coming down the front straight that time by, but it's certainly the way it is by the looks of it.
Lights are off our beloved Ford Mustang now, which means we're going to get racing at the end of this lap. And the pressure, well, Jack Boyd didn't succumb to it at the initial race start. He had a good clean pit stop. He holds the lead now. There's a rolling single file start like this, maybe going to be even more difficult for him than getting a good jump from the standing start. We will see very, very shortly. Matthew Hansford-Taylor's got the lights ablaze saying, hey, you meant to let me pass. I'm allowed to take my spot back.
Yeah, so he's going to gain his spot back, thankfully, and not end up all the way down at the back of the field after that moment earlier on in the lap. So yeah, I'll be a little bit more happy with that, but it's going to be quite an interesting restart because there's quite a few big gaps between some of these drivers and some of these cars.
It feels not all compressed into one huge line. There is some little space, some little air bubbles in here. What is Jack Boyd going to do for this restart? Is he going to pack the pack back up, or is he going to stick along with the safety car? He's got just a couple car lengths to the safety car. He's waiting. He's waiting. He's got the field down at about 100 kilometers an hour. Still waiting. Final corner. And I think it's smart to not go too early here. Because if you go too early, the drivers behind will then catch you again in the slipstream. You wait longer, they're not going to have the time. Still waits. Green flag waves, and now he puts the power down, and it's been a good jump behind there from Mario Vartanian, who's all over the bumper of Adam Sharp, likewise on Cardellone. Jack Boyd might just survive into turn one, but they are too wide, too deep immediately behind him on the restart with 9 minutes to go in race one of Club Day Masters.
Yeah, there's a couple of them going 3 wide, in fact, and there's been a
Caplice.
big chuck further back. Caplice is involved. He's gone well and truly off the circuit, well off into the runoff area, and a few others as well, ending up on the grass. Aaron Hindle, one of them, and a few others as well. So it's not been a good restart for Liam Caplice at all, and he's going to end up way down the back of the field for the next race.
The track so far, you got to ask, are the Penguins still okay? But Caplice is somehow found a bit of paved runoff there and might get it going again. But that is huge disaster, especially at a whole grid restart like this. Jack Boyd leads. Cardellone still has second. Vartanian, I think, has gotten his way back up into the top 3 as well here.
It certainly has. But looks like there's problems in the background. Lee Harrison's often in the weeds. He's pretty much ended up on his side as well. So that's not what he will have wanted at all, and pretty much in the same spot that he was in earlier.
Now he's on his lead. It was Fonslow, you remember, who got beached there earlier. And now Lee Harrison finds out there's actually a landmine out there as well. He's been going to door to door with our friend Nick Skaryev. Then Lee Harrison ends up in the middle, 3 wide, cops a very similar looking hit to the rear bumper coming out of Siberia, rolls it on the ditch. And here you thought maybe he could rock the car back and forth, get it on its wheels. But I don't know what they're putting in that suspension, but that is a pre-loaded strut.
Yeah, that was certainly an unexpected moment there to go from rolling over to suddenly doing a front flip. So he certainly would win the award for best gymnastics of the night so far. And Lisi's off as well at turn 1 as well as Fred.
I'm not sure he's going to be joining the Olympic gymnasts. I think he's going to be joining the breakdancing at the Olympics going forwards. Not what he wanted for race 1. This is the battle for the lead, though, where Boyd under all sorts of pressure. And now Cartellone can't be as patient as he could before. He has to go for the lead because everyone else, third on back, is packed up behind them. He can't be patient like he was before the safety car. And there's a couple together at the hairpin there.
Like there's a little bit of an incident going on between the likes of Fred, Hen, Brookfield, Hedderscheid, and Charles. Looks like Charles just had some contact from the side from Hedderscheid, Boyd up the inside. So probably Hedderscheid just more or less being a little bit hesitant to turn in. And unfortunately, there was a car there that just ended up happening to end up causing a little bit of carnage in the end. But Carpenter's up the inside of Vartanian. Vartanian's going to try hold it around the outside. Biff and Barge going on as well on the exit. And that's going to be a position gain for Carpenter. And all over the back is Alan Sharp now of Mario Vartanian.
Yeah, precisely. Carpenter used a little bit of camber, a little bit of banking to the inside of the track to really let him hook a better line down the inside. Now Boyd, all the way to the left, is he trying to let Cartellone go so that they can 1-2-1-2 and get away from the rest of the pack? That didn't look defensive from Jack Boyd, but now it does around the outside of turn 1 to give him the inside for Southern Loot. He's run a little wide, found a little bit of the grass. Matthew Cartellone clear into the lead.
Yeah, so very, very good move by Cartellone to get into the lead of the race. Jack Boyd's not going to let this one go easily, though, and there's still a few more laps to go as well. So there's every chance that Boyd could get this one back and be in with another race win, and they're still going in it behind. Sharp's going to nearly get into the side of Vartanian on the way into Honda with a bit of pressure from behind from Williams. Aaron Oliver's getting give Williams a run for his money as well. Looks to the inside, no gap there, so he's going to have to sit behind for the time being.
Exciting stuff after the restart, that's for sure. Your top 10 have been pretty clean, but they have been very, very aggressive. Look at Aaron Sharp just pushing Kobe Williams along up towards Adam Sharp and Mario Vartanian. When you can't get past, just bumps the guy in front. Wiki Heights, and then downhill, difficult braking zone. Tail wants to slide out from these cars. Wants to slide out from almost any car in that corner there, especially these front-wheel drive TCRs, very light over the rear axle.
Yeah, certainly. And one of the things is that you don't want to compression lock the rear end as well on the way down and through some of those tighter corners as well, where you really got to go down through the gears. So you've got to be a little bit careful in some respects there. But Jack Boyd's going to have Dale Carpenter all over his back end as he's rapidly closing in. Not quite going to be able to go to the inside, though. Did have a look, but wasn't quite close enough to get the move done in the end.
Gap for your leaders is a little bit evaporated there, hasn't it? Cartellone just 4/10 to Jack Boyd, and Boyd was obviously under pressure from Carpenter that time. Richard Brookfield in 9th. What a view he's got watching on. Can't push wide out of these corners and put your front tyres on the grass, because then you lose all the traction coming off the corner. Couple switchbacks, couple big dives towards the hairpin. Adam Sharp has to cover off aggressive young Kobe Williams.
Yeah, Kobe trying to catch up to this pack just ahead, but can't quite seem to do it at the moment. Sharp's a little bit of a cork in the proverbial cork in the bottle, and Oliver looking to the inside of Williams there on the way down towards Hayshed. Was again nearly no gap and could have easily ended in contact, and he's going to look to the inside again. Contact between the two. Williams is going to end up off the road. As a result, he's not quite going to make the tyre wall, but he got very, very close in the end.
How are you going to rate the rejoin here?
Oh no.
Oh, it's Alex Premer's number. It's mine now. Is almost what I was thinking there as he made that rejoin onto the track. We saw it coming from a mile away. No way to stop on the grass. Downhill. But how do you rate this attempt at a pass from Aaron Oliver? Because that is... well, here's the heads-up stuff to not get collected. That's the kind of safe driving that saves you money on your insurance.
Yeah, it certainly does. Would certainly make your damage bill very, very small, that's for sure, if not non-existent. So some good heads-up driving there from Brookfield to get on, well, avoid that possible incident. But yeah, I'd say that's probably going to be a penalty for Oliver, and it would be certainly no disputing it either, really.
Yeah, a bit aggressive, bit of a tap, made the move by making contact. It's not quite a short track out here. Robbing is maybe racing if you're bump drafting someone in the straight, but to just nerf them off through the corners probably doesn't slide. Probably doesn't work. 34 versus 33 on track, and that is no good for Adam Sharp. What has gone on for him? That car is parked. He's losing positions. It's towed. He was looking at a top 5, was Adam Sharp.
Yeah,
he's looking at starting at the back of the grid for race 2.
Yeah, not quite sure what's happened there. He's just kind of, yeah, it doesn't look like anything major sort of happening. He hasn't had an incident. He's just kind of pulled it off the side of the road and parked it, which is odd.
Back to start the final lap of race 1. Matthew Cartolone leads, and he's got just a little bit ahead of Jack Boyd, but that could all change on this final lap. And behind them, Webster as well, and muscled side by side around 13th here with Hetterscheid, Vantagiato, Wade Reynolds, Simon Hetterscheid, both Hetterscheids in the same pack here, in the same livery as well.
And you can see it's a very, very close battle going on between these four. Reynolds is going to look to make a move. He's going to go to the outside on the way into turn number 1. It's going to be very, very close between them, but he's not quite going to be able to get it done. And Jack Boyd's actually off the road and dropping down the order absolutely rapidly. He's come out behind Glenn Boyd, but what's happened there?
Well, we will grab a replay, take a look at it again from another look. Boyd, it's all out of sorts there onto the grass. And you know, he was playing it really, really close with the grass through turn 1 earlier. And he does it again, but this time it's all 4 off. He's out of control. He can't slow or turn the car. And he gets the grass on the outside of the southern loop as well. I think that was him just pushing it too hard. We've seen him get close to that before when he lost the lead to Cartolone. Now he's really been bitten by it.
Yeah, he certainly has, and he'll probably be very, very disappointed with himself as a result of making that mistake. But the battle is well and truly on for second. Vartanian dives to the inside with a very, very late braking move. Not going to be able to drop alongside, though, of Carpenter, who's going to end up coming away with P2 at this stage, unless Vartanian pulls something out of the hat with a very, very solid run out of the final corner, which it doesn't look like it's going to happen, though.
So here is the checkered flag. Matthew Cartolone, he's going to grab the win in race 1. He's well pleased with himself, but behind, what moves are still to happen? Carpenter's going to hold on to second. Aaron Oliver is going to get Glenn Boyd there, and Sam Lehman is going to run out of time to get Kobe Williams before the checkered flag. Bit of a drag race here, though. Patrick Panton and Damien Cairns, I think that might have been, and yet another drag race to the line. It's won by Darren Sharp, I think, against Bailey Frid in this case. Bit of damage to the car for Frid. Probably doesn't help him Bartolone has a win to his name. He was one of the drivers in the top 5 in the points coming into this one, so I think he's going to be quite happy with that. 1 or 2 more cars to cross the checkered flag, then we'll grab a look at the results from race 1. And of course, the top 15 will be inverted for the grid for race 2 as well.
Certainly, and Simon Heddershot actually just managed to steal that reverse grid pole as well on that last lap of the final corner, managing to get on by Panton as well by launching it up the inside. So a very, very solid move there, and very, very lucky to come away with that in the end.
So in the end, after 17 laps of Phillip Island, Matthew Cartolone was the winner, 2.4 seconds clear of Dale Carpenter, as you can see, just held on ahead of Mario Vartanian. Then Aaron Oliver, Glenn Boyd, Jack Boyd, Richard Brookfield, Daniel Webster, Kobe Williams, and Sam Lehman for the top 10.
Okay, over the page, and you're going to have Ivan Vantiaggio on, followed by Wade Reynolds, and then Daniel Hedderscheid, Aaron Hindle, Simon Hedderscheid to finish at the top 15 and take the pole for race 2. And then you're going to have Patrick Payton, Damien Carnes, Liam Caplice ending up in 18th, 19th, Darren Sharp, and Bailey Fred rounding out the top 20.
Yeah, indeed. Then it's Hayden Jackson, Ben Hoare, Adam Funslow, who I think the safety car really helped him get back in this race after he got bogged very early on. Greg Holmes in 24th, Shannon McMillan in 25th, Jack Childs in 26th, Christopher Henn 27th, Philip Paradiso 28th, Hayden Felicius 29th, and Matthew McMillan was 30th.
And then you're going to have, for the remainder of your order, you're going to have Nick Skarev, followed by Mike Casey, Matthew Hansford Taylor, Lee Harrison, Frank Hodak, Adam Sharp, Ben Edwards, George Gutierrez, Matthew Pontello, and Brady Bouchan rounding out the rest of the field.
Yeah, I was trying to look if I could grab our race 1 winner, Matthew Cartolone, but I don't seem to be able to grab him by the scruff of the neck and pull him into awaiting interviews or the broadcast chat. So I don't know if we are going to be able to do that, but all the action in race 1, I thought we actually saw some fantastic battles. There was a bit of contact here and there that was maybe questionable, but overall, the drivers using the draft, using the pack racing very cleverly, and those who pitted in the first half, which was everyone, very, very sensibly. No one getting caught with their pants down at the safety car.
Yeah, it doesn't look like anybody really got caught out by the safety car in race 1, so we'll see what happens in race 2 and if anybody gets caught out by the safety car or not, but I can't imagine it's going to end up... I can't really imagine anybody's going to get caught out if they didn't in race 1, but who knows? It's a random draw as to when it comes out, so we'll have to see what happens.
Bit of a warm-up or a cool down before race 2, depending on your perspective, how you want to look at it, and how race 1 went for you and what you're hoping for in race 2. And not everyone's going to use this warm-up session. I'm sure some of them would rather cool down than warm up, especially with just how off-the-wall crazy I think that last 15 minutes of the race was after the safety car.
Yes, certainly. It'll be a good chance for all of these drivers to sort of recuperate and get the iron to try and get themselves back in the zone to be able to get a reasonable result in race 2 and recover what they lost in possibly race 1.
Indeed, so critically, around that top 15 invert, I mean, you want to be in that top 15 anytime it's, a certain invert, be it top 8, top 10, top 15, to be outside of that, very painful, keeps you on the back foot, and others that you will maybe just a tiny bit ahead of you suddenly get given this huge benefit of being, hoisted to pole position for the next race, and you get nothing. Not a great feeling. I think, Cam, let's think about this one. The change from a 3 20-minute race format to the 30-minute races. I think it gave everyone just a little bit more time to think about their strategy, what they were going to do. Cartolone, you remember, he was patient for a couple laps there with Jack Boyd, and then found his time to strike. He had that time to wait a lap, wait 2 laps, size it up, and then make it stick.
Yeah, I think that's one of the benefits of having this extra race distance is drivers are able to, I guess, think a little bit more in terms of being patient and not having to do it sort of flat out for 20 minutes and rush to get their way through the field. They can sort of take their time and plan their strategy out a little bit more, like you said, and be able to use the patience to their advantage to just pick drivers off one at a time instead of trying to pass 5 in 1 lap sort of thing. So it's giving these drivers a lot of advantage, and also the longer race probably helping those recover if they possibly have a bad few laps as well. So it's not the end of the world, I don't think, to have the little bit extra time in the race.
Allows a little bit more thinking, a little bit more planning, and the driver's got a week to think and plan about next round 3 at Barcelona. I'm going to go out on a limb here and say a track with some characteristics quite a bit like Phillip Island, some long straights, some sweeping corners, a hard stop or two. But let's get ready for race 2 because the drivers are going to have to grid up quickly for another 30 minutes. We'll take a look at least at the top 20 on the grid because that invert is going to make things very, very interesting, at least in the early going. Simon Hederscheid gets the reverse grid pole with Aaron Hindle on row 1 with him. Then it's Daniel Hederscheid and Wade Reynolds for the next row. Ivan Vantigiato, also a big beneficiary of the invert. Sam Lehman is going to start from 6th. Kobe Williams is going to start from 7th. Daniel Webster in 8th. Richard Brookfield in 9th. And Jack Boyd, your pole sitter from race 1, will start race 2 in 10th.
Then you can have Glenn Boyd in 11th, 12th, Aaron Oliver, Mara Vartanian, Dale Carpenter, Matthew Cardellone, followed by Patrick Payton, Damien Cowns, Liam Caplice, Darren Sharp, and Bailey Fred rounding out the top 20.
That is our top 20 of our 40-car field. They've been given the 5-second warning. They'll be watching the lights carefully, practicing their start procedure with the clutch, with the handbrake, and it all comes down to right now where Simon Hederscheid, good initial getaway, now really running out of steam as Aaron Hindle and Daniel Hederscheid are going to swoop through to go side by side for the race lead. Behind them, of course, very chaotic start, but from 3rd on the grid, Daniel Hederscheid comes through turn 1 in the lead. Sam Lehman here in 19th, trying to go around the outside of turn 1. Matthew Hansford Taylor and Lee Harrison are going to come together on the outside of turn 1 as well. Turn 1 not been a happy place for Lee Harrison.
Yeah, it certainly has been a happy one, and there's certainly been another incident as well at Southern Loop between Kobe Williams and a few others as well. Bailey Fred involved in that, so it hasn't been a clean start for a lot of drivers, unfortunately, and so far there's still carnage going on at the hairpin as well.
For Aaron Hindle from a great starting position is now off the track, losing positions hand over fist. Ivan Vantigiato looks like he's gotten his way to the lead as now that's off wide for Simon Hederscheid from 2nd. I think he did that to himself on cold tyres at Siberia. Of course, they ran the same tyres all the way through race 1. Now they're doing the race start on cold tyres once again. Some drivers are catching themselves out.
Yeah, certainly. It looks like cold tyres catching out a few drivers. Simon Hederscheid being one on the way through Siberia as well. I know it's called Siberia, but I didn't expect it to be that sort of cold over there. But it's certainly still going on for Loogie Heights as well, with a few drivers ending up off the road. But at the moment, you can see the battle is going on very well and truly at the front of the field between Cardellone, Vartanian, Reynolds and Webster, who are all trying to get their way through this field after starting a little bit down the order.
Well, here's a great idea. Pit at the end of lap 1. Get yourself out and away from this nonsense. From 10th on the grid, though, here comes Jack Boyd looking for the race lead because he's going to have to go around the outside of Vantigiato. This has been an Achilles heel for Boyd. He's quick everywhere, but he just keeps...
Oh, no!
There it is again, just abusing the track on the exit of turn 1. Aaron Oliver strikes again. Vantigiato off the track. Jack Boyd into the lead, though. It's all going off for your top 3.
Yeah, it certainly is all going off, especially in these first few laps or so with everybody on cold tyres. Jack Boyd was very lucky to end up pulling that up and not cause a bigger crash, but Aaron Oliver's going to look to the inside of Jack Boyd. Not quite going to be close enough to get a move, though, behind. Webster's going to launch it up the inside of Vartanian and end up getting the position off him in the end.
Hectic start. Vartanian wants it back at Siberia. He's going to chuck his nose down the inside. Can't find the grip, can't find the speed. around the outside. It's a good drive off for Daniel Webster as the tyres are still going to be cold for everyone. They're warming up as we go on. Track temperature a little bit colder than race 1. I'm seeing about 29 degrees. That's not going to make a drastic difference. It's not blazing hot or super icy. Battle still on for third. The teammates battling behind between Brookfield and Caplice, it looked like. And then also we have the 17 Funslow and Patrick Panton. Different flare colours to the same paint there. And yet more drivers are going to decide they want out of this. They want pits. And some of them want repairs as well, I'm going to guess.
Yeah, so there's going to be a few trying to get some repairs done by the looks of it. Ben Hoyer and a few others deciding to come down onto the lane. Panton, Catalina, Brookfield all joining them on the pit lane to get some service done, and probably a few others as well. Vantigiato decides to come onto the lane as well, probably to get some possible damage fixed. Boyd is away and going to have some nice clean air, and that is Hansford Taylor off the road again.
A lap down. I don't know if he was just letting the leaders through or he made yet another mistake, but interestingly, Jack Boyd, who went long in race 1, pitted a little bit earlier than some others. Now, why does it say race 3 on our graphic? But Jack Boyd's back out into the race, and where does he find himself at the moment? He's the lead of all the cars that have pitted, and he is in 9th, so that hasn't worked out terribly for him. He's still the lead of all the cars that have pitted, but Aaron Oliver, who's continued, has a bit of clean air as well, and I think he can be quick when he doesn't have to battle wheel to wheel with other drivers.
Yes, certainly he can be quick, although Boyd's got a lot of clean air ahead of him and a nice gap to the cars behind as well. So he's going to be quite a threat here to possibly being able to get an undercut on Aaron Oliver. We'll have to wait and see what happens. But certainly you can see here Daniel Ketterscheid with his hands full of it. Kobe Williams as well, who's applying the pressure quite nicely to the back of that Audi TCR car, and as we assumed, Aaron Oliver decides to come down onto the lane as well, and Caplice and Funslow decide to do the same thing as too.
Yeah, you kick yourself if you left it too late and then ended up back in the field when the safety car comes out. So Aaron Oliver doesn't want that to happen. He wants to find his pit box, he wants to take some fuel. Didn't look like any tyres were going to happen there. Hayden Felici, though, is in the war here. He cops a hit side to side. He cops a tap on the bumper. Now round outside of Lukey Heights comes the inside for MG, and then it settles out a little bit there as he can use the camber to his advantage. But still, every which way he looks, he's stuck in the middle.
Yeah, certainly is, and he's copping it left, right and centre from those around him at the moment in the battle. Just ahead of them, they're going 2 by 2 through the final corner. A little bit tricky to do, but it's just going to end up coming out in favour of the driver on the outside. He's going to have the inside for the way onto turn number 1. It's going to be close, is it, for Nick? He's just barely going to hold on, and they're all going off the road in the end.
Yeah, Felici copped another hit side to side in turn 1, and that sent him off. Adam Sharp. Don't notice how much an Audi RS3 kind of actually looks like a Volvo until it's got that paint on. But the front is not convincing. A lot of damage to the radiator, to the headlights, to the bonnet. That's not going to be helping him with the straight line speed, which is so critical to get any moves done down the pit straight here. But at 4th and 5th, Aaron Oliver has managed to rejoin just in front of Jack Boyd, and this very well could become the battle for the race lead in not too long. Daniel Webster is on the pit lane now. Partanian and Wade Reynolds just need to pit. And here around the outside of Lukey Heights to the inside of MG goes Jack Boyd. Hooks up the camber at the inside, but I think Aaron Oliver's done a very strong job around the outside there. This kind of battling, could it force Oliver and Boyd back towards Kobe Williams, Matthew Cardellone, two very, very quick drivers. Cardellone could, from 15th on the grid, very soon find himself looking at a top 3 again.
Yeah, could very easily be on for a podium here if he works with Kobe Williams. He could be very well on possibly for a win if he's lucky enough, but Boyd's going to move to the outside of Oliver on the way into turn number 1, really nearly rubbing panels as well on the way down, but Boyd's going to have to slot in behind. He's going to look to the outside at Southern Loop. That's probably not the smartest idea with how many drivers we've seen run wide, but in the end he just decides to sit station for the time being.
I'd wondered, when is Jack Boyd going to learn not to go around the outside of turn 1? I think the answer was just then he realised, let's not try that this time. We'll save it for a good run off Southern Loop, down the inside at the Honda hairpin. If he can make it turn, that looks very, very convincing. Park it on the apex. Jack Boyd is third. 2 cars in front of him are yet to pit. The one that presents the biggest threat is Mario Vartanian. He scored in the lead right now and yet to make his pit stop. Cardillone's moved his way up ahead of Kobe Williams behind these two. So I think Boyd needs to set an example, settle down, head down, focus forward. Otherwise, Cardillone is going to catch them and he could be a double race winner in a reverse grid race.
He certainly could end up being a double race winner, but he's got a lot of work to do and needs to close that gap down a little bit quicker if he's going to end up having a chance. And bearing in mind there's still that safety car, so he's going to be in a very, very good position come the end of this race when that safety car does end up falling. When it does, we're not sure, but it'll happen at some point. So the opportunity is going to arise at some point in this race, but does need to still keep going.
Mario Vartanian has made his pit stop. He's going to come back out. He's just ahead of Jack Boyd and Aaron Oliver. No, he isn't. They're going to stream past him. He's going to rejoin in third. And Cardillone has a huge head of speed, but look at the damage on all of these cars that have been battling over 4th, 5th, and 6th here. They've been leaning on each other. They've been punching each other around. And that is not great, especially the pit stop's already out of the way. No way they're going to get that fixed between now and the end when the safety car bunches everyone back up again. If you're missing just 2 kilometers an hour in 6th gear at the end of the straight, that is going to be so painful.
Yeah, it certainly is, and you're not going to want that speed deficit haunting you either on when that safety car ends up coming out as well, with everybody around you and that draft being so strong. But you can see there Glenn Boyd's going to try and move up the inside of Dale Carpenter. A little bit of a bump on the way into Siberia forces Boyd wide, and he's going to sneak it up the inside. Another hip check on the way out of the corner as well, and Carpenter's going to steal that position back only just in time for the caution to come out.
Yep, nose in front means that position is his as safety car boards and flags around Phillip Island, and the Mustang is going to roar into life once again, or maybe it's just going to putter and cough and splutter into life and pick up Jack Boyd as your race leader. And the lead that Boyd and Oliver had is going to evaporate. It's going to be Vartanian, Cardillone, Williams. 3 very fierce sounding names right up behind them when we get racing again. Safety car, by name, by nature, it takes that long pit exit.
It's actually interesting that it ends up taking. I thought it would go through the short one, but I guess it's probably something you don't expect when you get the caution just coming out and then suddenly you have to stand on the brake pedal as the leader. So it's probably not a bad thing that it ends up going down that longer pit lane instead of coming straight out onto the circuit in that shorter one.
What did we just see going on behind safety car just then? Dale Carpenter through Southern Loop. What are you doing, sir?
It's not really what you want to be doing. It's probably not too ideal either.
This is what it is. He's trying to... No, he just understeers wide, catches the grass underneath the safety car. But I rate that flick to get it pointing the right way again very well. That was okay.
Yeah, it actually was quite good, actually, wasn't it? So getting on board here of Glenn Boyd, and you can see just ending up nearly 90 degrees to the corner, nearly Tokyo Drift spec, but a good recovery in the end.
I think Ericsson hit him. So Holfield's going to have to stay to the left-hand side of the circuit because there's a bunch of cars that were a lap down getting waved back around. Bailey Frid is the first driver I'm seeing receiving the wave around. I think the others who might need it would be... No, probably just Bailey Frid.
Yeah, I think you'd be right in
Hedeshide's retirement. Simon Hedeshide's a retirement. Matthew Pontello, I don't think, took the race start. So the only driver who was off the lead lap was Bailey Fred. You remember we saw him get tangled earlier as well, so that probably played into it. In fact, Bailey Fred has made 3 trips to pit lane this race.
Yeah, it's a little more than one stop, that's for sure. But he's not actually... The fact that he's actually ended up back on the lead lap as a result of doing 3 pit stops is actually quite impressive.
Never give up. Unfortunately for Bailey Fred, he's going to get waved back around and still be in 38th position or so. If I was Adam Sharp or Darren Sharp in 36th and 37th, I'd take the opportunity for some repairs here, because you're still right at the tail end of the field. Get your car shape, and you know, we've seen there's a handful of cars in this pack, aerodynamic damage on them. They are going to be easy pickings.
Yeah, they certainly are going to be.
Kobe Williams has been given an end-of-line penalty. Look, he's dropping to the end of the field. He was 4th or 5th.
Yeah, not quite sure what the reasoning behind the LL is. Possibly an incident earlier in the race he might have had, but not quite sure. Don't see anything in the last few laps at least, so it must have been in probably the first 2 laps or so.
Kobe's going to have to park it up to serve that one in time, because I think I saw the lights go off the safety car, did I not? So he needs to make sure that everyone has gotten through before the start-finish line at the end of this lap. Jack Boyd, he's done 1 safety car restart already tonight. I think it worked pretty well for him just to keep the field waiting a bit longer. He was just vulnerable if you jump too early, that the cars behind then, pick up a slipstream all the way down the straight, threaten you into turn 1. I think he did the smart thing by keeping them waiting last time. So is he going to do the same because it works, or is he going to do something different because he knows those behind might be expecting it?
Yeah, we'll have to wait and see what he decides to do when they go green. If he decides to wait until the green flag drops, or he decides to go a little bit early, we'll have to wait and see. But you'd think he'd mix it up just to try and make it a little bit less predictable, but who knows?
Answers on a postcard, we're about to find out. Through the final corner, he's still got them waiting. I think he goes just a little bit earlier, but still keeps them waiting. So he goes just before the green flag, backing him up. 100 k's an hour, and still waiting. Now it's green flag. Now he goes, and I think Aaron Oliver's in a good position. Mario Vartanian's going to get a good jump as well. Cardellone, who's that with a huge head of steam coming towards the lead? Liam Caplice, what is that?
Oh, 3-1.
Some are going to question the legality of that restart from Liam Caplice, I'm sure. He came from 10th to 3rd or something. I didn't quite all work through turn 1 for him, but he had a huge head of steam going on. George Gutierrez is gone. Vartanian in 3rd, and Jack Boyd still under pressure from Aaron Oliver. Oliver's looking down the inside here. He's got his nose down the inside. He's gone in very deep, and so too is Jack Boyd, who catches just a little bit of grass. Mario Vartanian puts the power down underneath him, but they're going to be side by side through Siberia, and this is great for Aaron Oliver if he thinks he can get away. Vartanian, just let Jack Boyd hold on to that one.
Yes, certainly he's going to decide to let Boyd have it, that one for the time being. Probably won't let him have it in the end of the race with about 30 minutes to go. He's going to certainly stay on his back bumper, but what a restart it was for Liam Caplice. It didn't look like he did anything wrong. He just timed it very, very well, and there was a little bit of a checkup in front from everybody else. So very, very well placed himself there, but it's certainly all going on just in behind them. As you can see in the background, there's all sorts of cars battling for position 2 by 2, about 6 rows deep.
Certainly they do. There's always a couple different lines across Lukey Heights, and then you see someone trying to go down the inside of MG. Seems to happen every restart here. It's Lee Harrison. He didn't start this race at all how he would have liked on his lid. He's kept going. He's used the safety car to his advantage, and now he is in 14th. The lead changing, chopping and changing. That is all out of control for Mario Vartanian. Sideways, off the road. Going to rejoin in the middle of the southern loop. Watch out. Oh. I think he copped a little hit to the bumper there after the rejoin as well. So no good for Mario Vartanian. But that is good news for Cardellone and Daniel Webster, who chopped ahead. And Jack Boyd wants the lead back.
Yeah, certainly does want the lead back. He's going to throw it up the inside of Oliver and get the move done. Catalano is right there, thereabouts now. And Caplice is going to try around the outside of Daniel Hedderscheid as well, just further back. They're nearly going to be 3 wide on the exit of the Honda hairpin. Boyd's going to get shuffled out wide as a result of near contact. Boyd's going to end up dropping down the order.
A lot of positions lost there for Glenn Boyd as he tries to get going once again. We're looking at Lee Harrison here, who's looking forward at beautiful sticker on the rear bumper of Wade Reynolds. Maybe he should use the blue font one though, if it's going to be on a red background. It's not my department. I'm not really bothered. But Lee Harrison still wants to have a look down the inside, decided against it, and that really checked up a couple of the cars behind as well.
Looks like it's been quite a hectic restart for a lot of these drivers, especially those battling very, very hard in that mid-range of just inside the top 10, but just outside of it as well. So it's certainly all going on. Oliver's trying to get close to Jack Boyd, but not going to be able to get a move done this time by. And there's been a huge incident on the way down towards turn number 1, up and over.
Hayden Jackson has lost everything off that car, got sent sideways up the berm, and I swear that has happened in supercars before, hasn't it?
It has indeed. I'm trying to think of who it was and what year it was. Jason Bargwanna, and I can't remember the year, but it was an absolutely massive shunt. And you can see on the replay, just copping a whack and then up and over in a massive barrel roll.
Certainly got a good hit to the bumper that sent him spearing across. Wheels off the wagon, wing off the tailgate for poor Hayden Jackson there. It's 10 minutes to go in the final race of the evening, and Jack Boyd is leading. You can see some of the 3 big names that we've been seeing all round long, all season long. Aaron Oliver, Matthew Cardellone, and they are a top 3 breakaway at the moment. Bit of a no man's land for Daniel Webster, and then Daniel Hedderscheid is wishing for less company because he's got a very aggressive looking Liam Caplice at his bumper, who's also being spurred along by Adam Funslow and Richard Brookfield.
Yeah, certainly. He's got plenty of company at the moment, does Caplice, and he's trying to find a way on by Hedderscheid at the moment. Hasn't been able to get it done in the last lap or so, but he's going to give it a red hot go this time by on the way into turn number 1. I reckon he's going to have enough of a draft to get up alongside. He's going to look to the left-hand side of the road because Hedderscheid is going defensive into turn number 1. Now it tries around the outside. Barely going to be able to do it. A little bit of a check there from Hedderscheid, but manages to get it done. And up the inside is going to go Funslow as well. So Hedderscheid's going to lose 2 for 1 here.
Yeah, teamwork makes the dream work there for Caplice and Funslow. Caplice opens the door. Funslow takes the invite as well, but Daniel Hedderscheid's going to hold it around the outside of Stoner, just keep his nose in for the hairpin. Both of them are so deep on the brakes, they're nearly going to take out Caplice. Side by side from the hairpin they go this time. Brookfield, Reynolds, Lee Harrison behind. What are they thinking? Harrison's thinking, I'm going to try to switch around the outside of Siberia on Wade Reynolds, and then they're also side by side still here, Funslow and Hedderscheid. So this pack are battling like there's 8 minutes left. There's no way that they're going to catch the leaders doing this.
Yeah, they certainly aren't going to be. And Hedderscheid's going to still try to hold it around the outside of Funslow on the way through. Loogie Heights gets on the grass, and there's going to end up being contact. Not quite, and he barely holds onto it. In the background, though, Harrison's not going to be able to save it, and is going to, as a result, going to drop down the order after being on the grass. But what a battle it is between these two.
Timing computer says 5 laps to go at the line here. 7.5 minutes. Probably end up being 5 laps. I think Aaron Oliver's just set the fastest lap of the race then. Indeed he has. Our graphics are going to pull that one up as well. So obviously, first, second, and third, not battling too hard. And that'll help them get away. This could very well be the podium. If something crazy happens on the last lap, which I would not rule out. Here is Mario Vartanian up into 10th. Hindle in 11th. There's a bunch of damage on his car as well.
He certainly does, and a few beaten up cars in that little battle pack there going on, but you can see just ahead again, they're still battling for position. Airshide's going to look to the inside of Caprice, nearly ends up off the road. Brookfield's in there as well, trying to have a look, but not quite going to be able to do it, and back to that battle with Vartanian there, it's still going on. Vartanian's just going to hold on. Hindle tries around the outside of Head and manages to get it done.
All this for 11th place. Nick there ran out of fuel. Oh no! Hindle, big damage. He's facing the wrong way, losing positions, losing time. What happened at Siberia? It was just out of shot in front of Nick Skaryev. Here's Hindle looking at Vartanian.
Well, Head comes in from behind and just gives him a tap, and then Felice has to check up. Skaryev somehow manages to get on through in one piece, but yeah, that was certainly quite the cluster of cars going on.
Was the door open there down the inside of Hindle?
That's
a bit
debatable,
tough question.
But yeah, I don't think it kind of really wasn't.
Agreed. I also don't think it kind of really wasn't. Who knows? Not for us to judge there, but it is for us to mention. The top three continue to pace away from the rest of the field. Lee Harrison, it's a clean-looking car compared to Sam Lehman, and that's what we're talking about. You know, if you've got a bit of damage on your car after the restart, and you're hurting in a straight line, you are beyond a sitting duck. You are fish in a barrel at the end of the straight down towards turn 1. You can't pass anyone. Everyone streams past you. Lehman is in another spot.
It certainly is losing another spot, and nearly off the road there in the background was Lehman as well. He's going to try and hold on to this little battle pack in front of him between Boyd and Harrison, and he's also got company of Greg Holmes as well just behind, so he has to be a little bit careful here in how he tries to navigate this one, but he's certainly got to push on and really hope that he doesn't end up falling more down the order.
I think he will. That didn't look like great speed out of Siberia either. So struggling off the corners, struggling at the end of the straights. And cool blue machine for Greg Holmes is keeping the pressure on him. Probably just needs to set it up off the final corner for that one, if you're honest with yourselves. 3 laps to go now, though. Boyd still leads. Oliver still being patient. Cartolone, well, I'd probably want to be where he is right now, if I'm honest with you, but I wouldn't want to have that damage on the front of the car.
Yeah, certainly. You want to be in, well, have the damage he's got, but he's in a pretty good position should these two come together. Boyd runs wide and is just going to keep it on the black stuff for the time being, but he's going to end up having the man of Aaron Oliver drawing up alongside him on the way down towards Honda here, but Oliver's going to have the outside. Is going to be made hard to, well, have to do it the hard way around the outside. Is just barely going to be able to hold it around the outside, but not quite going to be able to do it. And Cartolone is trying to look for a place to go and buy, but has pretty much got 2 cars in front of him that don't want to let him buy.
I'd wait, send it down the inside at MG on the final lap. Easy. But that doesn't seem like what Boyd and Oliver quite wanted to do. That was more aggressive than I expected to see. Knowing how powerful the slipstream is, and they're getting away from everyone else. You can just see in the background there, Funslow and Caprice for 5th and 6th. Cartolone, is that a mistake from Oliver, or is he a wise old head on some younger shoulders?
100% sure. I think he just made a little bit of a mistake of just going a little bit too deep by the looks of it. So good move there by Cartolone to get on by, and he's going to now have a little bit of a gap to try and hunt down Jack Boyd. He's going to be sort of try to break away from this little pack now that he's got less pressure on him. But Aaron Oliver's going to look to the inside on the way down to turn number 1. No, he's not. He's actually going to sit station and just give Carolone a little bit of a bump to help him up the order.
That's smart because Jack Boyd was trying to play games with them. He came out the final corner and then immediately went to the left-hand side, forced Cartalone to make a decision. Do I cover the inside for turn 1 or do I follow in the draft? He couldn't do both. And Boyd was trying to sow the seeds of division between Cartalone and Oliver, but they were too clever for him at this point with 2 laps to go. But it was clever from Boyd to make his opponent behind choose one or the other of trying to fight for first or trying to defend second.
Yes, certainly. It was a very, very smart idea to try and put themselves in that position, or put those drivers in position, but certainly looking like he's going to be on for a win here is Jack Boyd, so long as he doesn't make a mess of the final lap again, but we'll see what happens. Cartalone is looming in the background. He's actually starting to close that gap up as well, so could be on for a win here, could Cartalone.
I think even standing on the podium after a top 15 invert would be a pretty successful second race for him. It's all going to come down to this final lap, where Boyd places his car, if he keeps it clean through turn 1, where Cartalone places his car, and what Oliver from third can do. Assume Jack Boyd's going to do the same thing. He's going to go to the left-hand side of the track early. He's following the typical racing line there, I suppose. Cartalone and Oliver have got some thinking to do about whether they squabble for second or try to go for the win.
Yeah, certainly need to think about this one very, very carefully on what they do, and with it, try not to hold each other up, although with it being the final lap, they kind of want to get a move on and try and battle it out as hard as they possibly can. So it's going to be very, very interesting to see what happens between these two, maybe these three. If Boyd makes a mistake, Oliver runs a little bit wide on the exit of Southern Loop. He's going to look to the inside, though, of Cartalone to the outside for Honda Hairpin. Is he going to try and do it around the outside again? He's going to manage to not quite do it. Going to have at least half a go, and he's managed to get around the outside in the end.
Yeah, big bold move from Oliver, but now the two of them, I think, are too far back to catch Boyd unless he makes a mistake, and Boyd will know that. He'll just try to soak up the pressure, make no mistakes for the remaining, maybe just 1 braking zone, 2 braking zones left on the lap. Of course, a little bit of damage with Cartalone probably does not help him fight back. Your top 3, it looks like it's going to be these 3. What is the rest of the top 10 going to look like? Boyd has just 3 corners left on the final lap of the race for the evening. Through the final corner, he's about to make his way to the checkered flag. I don't think there's a way that Oliver can put the pressure on from here, that Oliver can catch him. So for HM Engineering, Jack Boyd is going to win race 2. Aaron Oliver is going to finish in second. I think Cartalone is just delighted to finish on the podium 2 races in a row. Quite stuff there from Daniel Webster in 4th. This little battle pack here. Funzlo 5th, Caplice 6th, then Hedderscheid toes Brookfield and Wade Reynolds to the line. Mario Vartanian might just hold on to 10th. Lee Harrison in 11th, and then Glenn Boyd in 12th.
And you have Lehman coming home in the 13th. Sharp's going to end up with a top 15 in the end in P14. Carnes is going to round out the top 15. Skareviev is going to end up coming on 16th. Bouchan 17th. Carpenter 18th. Hansford Taylor, 18th, and Hendel 19th. And Panton's going to round out the top 20 by the looks of it.
I don't know if he's put his headlight flasher button to something else, but for finishing 3rd place, I think Cartalone seemed pretty happy with that. I don't think Jack Boyd can be disappointed with moving up 9 places in the race to grab the win, and Aaron Oliver moved up 10 places as well. They were big movers. Seeing plus 18 positions for Adam Funzlo. So off that reverse grid race, there were definitely some drivers who, to steal Ryan Walkinshaw's phrase here, salmoned their way upstream to spawn a little better than others. So Jack Boyd, your winner there, as confirmed on screen from Aaron Oliver from Cartalone. Webster all by himself on the island in 4th, for Funzlo in 5th, Caplice in 6th, Hedderscheid 7th, Brookfield 8th, Wade Reynolds for ninth. Needs to change the colour of that font for the SimSpeed logo on the car for next round. I'll be watching, I won't forget. And is Mario Vartanian in 10th.
And you're going to have Lee Harrison just outside the top 10. Glenn Boyd in 12th. Sam Lehman in 13th. Adam Sharp 14th. Carnes in 15th. Scary Ev in 16th. 17th. Bouchard. Hansford Taylor in 18th. 19th to Aaron Hindle. And Patrick Panton rounding out the top 20.
Keep looking at the rest here. In 21st, Philip Paradiso. In 22nd, Ben Edwards. 15 positions gained from near the very back of the grid. Might still be happy with that one. Ivan Vantigiato won't be happy with 23rd from about 5th on the grid. Darren Sharp in 24th. Matthew McMillan in 25th. Hayden Felici in 26th. Was a bit of a pinball at times. Christopher Hayne in 27th. Jack Charles in 28th, and then Mike Casey 29th. Kobe Williams with that end of line penalty drops him from the top 5, and he ends up finishing a minute off the leaders in 30th place.
And you have Shannon McMillan as the final driver on the lead lap. Then you have Greg Holmes, Ben Howell, and then Dale Carpenter to round out the top finishes with Frank Hodak, Hayden Jackson, George Gutierrez, Bailey Fred, Simon Ederscheid, and Matthew Pontello, your retirees.
Well, let's see if we've fixed the situation. I'll be able to grab an interview from any of our podium. Answer. We might go to Aaron Oliver if we can. We'll send our runner to get second placed finisher Aaron Oliver. And that was an interesting race to watch because the top 3 of you were breaking away, and then it was all about the gamesmanship, the car positioning for the top 3. Are you happy with second place after that?
Yeah, no, I am really happy with the second place result. Then, coming from grid 12, we had a good start of the race. I think we led it for a couple of laps then when Jack pitted and that. But yeah, I just didn't have enough quite to give it to Jack the last couple of laps. Carter had a crack in that, and then we had a nice clean battle for the top 3 positions. So can't really complain.
It did look for a bit there like Jack Boyd was trying to shake the draft off you and Cardellone. Was there a temptation to scrap over second rather than trying to stick with the draft of the leader?
Nah, the focus was definitely to go for the lead of the race and take the win. But yeah, it was just going to be a race of attrition, I guess, and best man wins.
Change of format from round 1. From where I've been sitting, it's looked very good. From the driver's seat, what does the longer races mean? What does it change?
Obviously, you got a safety car in this one too, compared to last week where we didn't. So that helps definitely to punch up the field, and it also involves strategy too, because you've got to somewhat know or predict when the safety car is going to come out. So it does definitely help to have the strategy involved in it. And yeah, it's just all about being smooth and looking after your tyres to last the whole race.
Rounds 1 and 2 in Australian circuits next week, going to Catalunya. Do you habla Espanol? You've been practicing that up?
I haven't really been around Barcelona in this car since the Circuit XLE series. So, really looking forward to it. Probably do a couple of laps during the week to get prepared for it. But apart from that, we'll give a go next week.
Congrats on second place, and we'll see you in a week at Barcelona.
Thank you.
Was our second place man, Aaron Oliver, and I do believe should be able to grab the race 1 winner and race 2 podium sitter, and that is going to be Matthew Cardellone with Cam Dance.
Well, Matthew, it was a pretty reasonable night in the end to come away with a win and a second place. A nice haul of points as well. As a result, you got to be pretty happy with that.
Yeah, thanks, Cam. That was that race 1 was awesome. So somehow I was a little disappointed with quali. I was out behind Aaron and Jack, and I should have got the toes. We probably should have. We would have worked well together, I think. But I made a small mistake, so I was out by myself. So I was really stoked to even just get P3, doing laps on my own. and then somehow it just sort of. I knew I had good race pace. I've been looking after the tires and looking after the fuel too, and it just came to it towards the end of the race, and I thought, I gotta send a move on Jack, because anytime you're racing with Jack Boyd and you can keep up with him, it's a pretty awesome thing. He's such a good driver. So he left the door open. We had a bit of a door to door and elbows out for a little bit, and I ended up getting the move done, which was great. And obviously put me into the reverse position for race 2, so P15, and somehow, I have no idea how, I managed to fight through that mid-pack and worked well with Aaron, and he was nice enough to let me sort of have a dig at Jack towards the end there, but I couldn't get it done, so I thought it was... he gave me the chance to have a dig at him, so I thought I'd give him P2 because that'd be fair. He had that wrapped up, and he was kind enough to let me through and have a crack, but... that was awesome racing. There was a couple of bust ups and stuff, but that's what you get when you got a massive grid. So, but yeah, just want to thank Ivan and Lee for all the work that they do. The SimSpeed TV guys, they do an awesome job with this stream, and Whipperman Racing over in England. Thanks for working with me and helping me develop. And yeah, hope to see you guys next week.
Yes, certainly. We'll see you next week. Well, with Barcelona being at the next round, are you looking forward to it at all? Have you done any laps prior to the series heading to Barcelona with the car?
Not with the car, no. Barcelona is one of my favourite tracks out of any track in the world. I absolutely love it. Just incredible place, awesome MotoGP racing and Formula 1 racing there, but never done a lap there in a TCR car. So, yeah, we'll see how it goes. I'll do some laps over the next week. It tends to be quite warm there sometimes, so it could be a tyres race as well. We'll see how that goes, and yeah, I look forward to it. Good start to the week.
Yes, certainly as well. Congratulations on your results for this round. Well, David, it's I think we might as well wrap it up at this point.
Precisely. Doesn't look like we've been able to grab a word with the race 2 winner Jack Boyd, but great to chat with the race 1 winner and 3rd place in race 2, and most likely then your points leader after 2 rounds in the Club Day Masters. The tweak to the format has produced even better racing than we had in round 1, so hopefully that continues. Same time next week, Monday nights on SimSpeed TV at Barcelona. On screen right now, the partners of this championship, Aussie Karts, UltraTune, Modbury, Golden Grove, Digital Marketing Tribe, KP Tech. Thank you to them for their support, allowing us to put together this broadcast on SimSpeed TV. Jay Kennedy has been our producer. It's been Cam Dance alongside me. I've been David Haynes, and we are all going to catch you next week in Spain.
Fantastic. This is GT racing right now.
He's got traction. He's going around the outside. Both of them. Maloney.
Oh, he's taken Anderson. Anderson's up top.
Oh my God. Big crash. Oh my goodness. Half the field's going to get rolled.
Six very close. These guys are want to make their way through the field very quickly.
Oh, there we go. Oh no.
That's massive. This is it. This is over. I can't believe this. Oh my God.
God, what?